Welcome back. This is our second lesson on creating this bracket. Let's take a home view. Here's the geometry we created in our previous lesson. In this lesson, we're going to convert it to solids, and I'll begin with a revolve. Select the profile to revolve. If you have difficulty selecting the profile, press down the Shift key and the space bar. Right-click and enter to finish the selection. Next step is to select the axis. Let's right-click, scroll to Object, and this will be our axis. The angle of revolution, let's make it 180 degrees. Press Enter to accept. Let's do the same thing on this side. Activate the Revolve command. Select the profile. Right-click and enter to accept our selection. Now let's right-click and select Object. Choose this line for our axis. Let's change the direction. Right-click, reverse. There we go. Make it 180 degrees. Press Enter to accept. And here is our revolution. Next, we're going to extrude the middle section. Here's the Extrude command. We'll select our profiles. Right-click and enter when you're done the selection. And the height of the extrusion, let's make it 1 unit. In 2D wireframe, it does look like we've created an extrusion, but let's take a realistic view and see what's actually happening. What we've done is extrude two solids inside each other. Let's go back to 2D wireframe, activate the Extrude command again. I'll select these two profiles. Right-click and enter to accept that selection. Extrusion height, let's say 0.5 units. Let me zoom in a bit. Now let's do a solid subtract. Activate the solid subtract tool. Select the solid to subtract from, right-click. And now the solids to subtract. Right-click to finish that selection and execute the subtract operation. Let's do it again. Select the solid to subtract from, right-click. Now the solids to subtract. Right-click to finish and execute. Now let's combine these two solids. Before I combine the revolve with the solid extrude, I'm going to need to cut part of the wall. Right about here. Let's take a realistic view so we can better see what I need to do. As you see, I've got a bit of a problem right here. Let's go back to wireframe. Select that revolve. And this one. Here too. Now right-click and scroll to Isolate. Hide objects. And let's activate Dynamic UCS. Activate the Box Primitive command. Be sure you're creating your primitive on the correct face. And let's just take a look at our work. Okay, looks good so far. Let's do the same on this side. Box primitive. And one more here. Now let's take a home view. Activate the solid subtract command. Select the solid to subtract from, right-click. Next, the solids to subtract. Right-click to finish the selection. Let's bring the revolves back in. End object hide. Solid combine. Make our selections. Right-click to finish. And now we've got a single solid. This concludes our second lesson on creating this bracket. We'll be finishing this part in our next lesson.